Okay, so before I do any more renders with this file, I want to put a decal or two in just to give you an idea how the tool works, but also how you can use that tool for different things. So first thing I want to do is just put some pictures in here. So I want to have some pictures on the wall, and so the Decal tool is a great option for that. So you might have thought if you want to put a picture onto a surface, you have to use a material. The way I have with this concrete floor, that is obviously a picture of some concrete that's been brought in as part of the material. But if you just want to put a single image onto any surface, you have the Decal tool on the Insert tab, and then you've got this option Decal. So if you don't know this one, it's one of the most important tools actually for rendering. And so I'd say it's almost essential to be able to get good results with your rendering in Revit. So again, once you go to Insert, then choose Decal, it'll come up at first with nothing loaded. So you need to make the first decal just clicking on the New button down the bottom here and give it a name. So I'm going to call this Picture Wall 1, something like that. And then over here you've got the source. There's nothing loaded, so I've got to hit the Browse button. And then I'm just going to go and find any image file. So I know I have some in the Material Images folder here. So I've got some paintings here, so they're the ones you used last semester. Let's just use one of those. Oh no, I'll get one that I like actually. So here there's a Paul Klee. So you can use any JPEG file, PNG or TIFF file, and you can just search for these online really easily. So there's a Kandinsky as well that I like. So anyway, I'll just use the Paul Klee. Okay, so you probably all know that painting, or not. If you don't, the Kiss, did you say? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So famous. Did you see it in Melbourne when they had the exhibition not long ago? It's it's in yeah. So now I can just place it on the wall, and then when it's selected, stretch it out. Okay, so that easy, and you can easily fill the space out. These are things you could do in Photoshop, but when you do it in Revit, it will of course do the perspective and everything else for you. So if we do a camera view through there, I can't see it in hidden line view, but if I go to realistic, I can see it there on the wall. It's that easy. Okay, so I'll just do it one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to change my view around a bit so I can see the other wall. Right, so photographic images work really well also as artworks. So again, back to Decal. Now, because I've already placed a decal, I've got to duplicate the one that's there. So I can easily just go to Edit Type and then Duplicate. So I'll call this Picture Wall 2 and then click Edit. And now again I can just browse to choose another file. So we should have some images here. So I'm just going to go for a larger one. That's not the one I want. Oh, this will do. Okay, so we've got some issues there with the cutout. That's actually a cutout image and part of the background's coming in. So I can simply go and edit type, edit, and then change the source here to find something else. I don't know about that image, but that'll do for now. Right, so back into the perspective, and again, so which one was it? There we are. Okay, so really quick and easy, and you can also add in all the properties that you could with the material. So if you go back to look at the source options there, you've got options for illumination. So if you want that to be a glowing image, you can set their illuminance. So when it renders, it'll work like a light box. Okay, so I'll just go and adjust the exposure there and increase the brightness a little bit. Okay, so I can go in now and increase that brightness. So we'll try LED paneling. Okay, so it's a quick and easy way of doing light boxes or having an illuminated panel as well. Okay, so again, just in the properties for the decal, we've got that luminance property. So the other major thing is planting. So quite often you can do things like planted walls or vine-covered walls using Photoshop. But what if you've got, say, a lattice screen or something that you need to see the planting through, or you've got a lot of framing that you want the planting to go over, and you don't have to go and cut around that constantly in Photoshop to see your plans. It's again easier to do that in your 3D program in Revit. And so just to show you how easy it is to use decals for things like that, a couple of simple options. We go and add a decal, and again edit type, duplicate, and I'll call this planting vines 1. Again, browsing to find an image, and I've got some saved here. Okay, so I've just downloaded some images of some vines, and you can there see I'm going to place it on this wall, and then if I go to stretch that, you'll see because I've placed it on a wall that has windows in it, when I stretch the vines, it's going to go around the windows. Now it's keeping the proportion, so I can just turn off lock proportions. So yeah, it's just flat. So that won't increase the render times much at all, and won't make the file much bigger either. And so let's bring that up. So it can only go as high as the wall. And so I've got a shaft there that needs to come up a bit more to get the roof. So where's my shaft? Yeah, I'll worry about the shaft later. But then say you want the vines to go over the windows. And so these vines, they might be good for the ones that I want on the wall. But then I can make another wall over the top of that. So I'm just going to make a thin wall. It's going to go to Edit Type and make it 10mm flat glass. And I'm going to set this to have a glass material that I'll duplicate and make not reflective. So I'm going to just turn the reflectance right down, take the sheets back to 1, leave the colour on clear, and now so I forgot to duplicate it, so I'll cancel that and I'll do that again. So glass flat, and I'll again duplicate the appearance so that I can make my changes. And then I'll set the level to go up to the parapet. So I'm going to draw that wall in front of the other one. Might move it a bit closer there. So I'd have to then hide this wall in, say, the plan view, so I don't see it there, just by hiding the element. But in my perspective view, I'll make a perspective that goes looks towards that wall. Alright, so the glass wall is there. So I'm just going to go to realistic so you can see. I've got my shaft there going down and cutting off the floor. I'm just going to fix that. What is it? What's happening there? Sorry, it's my decal that I'm seeing there. That's the edge of my decal. So I just need to bring that corner down. Okay, so that's better. Okay, so I can see my my background planting image, but now I want to put another one over the top by placing a new decal onto my new wall. Okay, so remember this wall is a plain sheet of glass that goes over that whole wall surface. So now if I go and add a new decal to that, again, Edit Type, Duplicate, so it's be planting vines too, that'll do. And I'll go and change the image to another one I've made earlier, which has these sort of vines on strings, essentially. Okay, so it's just a different image of some vines, and I'm going to then place that onto my new wall. Now, why can't I see that? Sorry, it's just... There it is. So it just took a minute to come up there. So there's my new decal. And so it's just going a bit slowly. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to turn off lock proportions again and stretch this over that whole wall there. You can see it's working, but now it's covering up the vines underneath. So the last thing I wanted to show you there with these decals is that you can make them cut out just like you can with the material. So I want to make it transparent around all the leaves. So back to edit type, edit, and then you can see here you've got this option cut out. And you can set that to image file, browse, and I might just show you this file in full so you can see what I've done there. So I've got, that's the original file with all of the colours, and then I've made another file which is black and white. So essentially I've just cut out around the leaves in Photoshop, and do you all know how to use the magic wand to select all the white? It's fairly easy to just use magic wand for that. So you just fill in all the white and turn it black, and then everything else, invert the selection and turn it all white. So it takes like 3 clicks to do that. Okay, and so then you can use that to cut out the image. So I can choose this black and white one now, and it's going to cut out wherever it's black and just leave the white parts, which are where it's coloured. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. OK. There we are. So you can see now it's cutting out, so it's got both images there. So I can see the background and then these vines that go across the windows. So if I go back into my perspective view, there we are. Okay, so so play around with that, and it's much easier than trying to model a 3D vine, and I think probably still easier than doing it with trying to do it all with Photoshop. You can do it with Photoshop. It's just more work sometimes, and you won't get the lighting the same. So if I do a quick render now, well, let's see. I was going to say I'll probably need more lights up against the wall, but I'll just see what happens. And be creative. You can use all sorts of image files. They don't even need to be of a vine-covered wall. You can use images of trees and other things, and use the same technique and stick them onto a wall, and they can look really good. Okay, so I know on your screen that'll be really dark, but if you have a look on the screen up here, it's easier to see. But if, again, I just go to bright, adjust exposure and make that brighter, you'll definitely see it there. Alrighty, so hopefully I'll give you some ideas about how you can make your renders look a bit more interesting. And just maybe to give you an idea about some design work that will give you some maybe inspiration for how you can use decals. Have a look at some art gallery designs where you'll see the interiors often feature lots of images on the walls. And again, just might give you some ideas how you can use decals in those public spaces that you're all working on, hopefully. And don't forget your sections as well. So people forget that the sections can be at least as important as the other views, and when you use rendering techniques, you can apply all of those to your section views as well. So even though it's a model, it's applying the same techniques. So again, very simple spaces, but much more interesting Oh yeah, so if you want to do something like this where you've got panels that are floating, often the easiest way in Revit is to just make an extra wall and then put the decal onto that, and then you can do your recessed lighting behind the panel. Okay, so anyone not sure about anything with decals, or that's all okay?